welcome to Roots to Fruits. We're here at the top of our orchard at our headquarters in Streatley Sutton Coldfield, and we're here to sort of give you an instructional demonstration and video about one of the most important foundation stones of any garden, which is the soil. Now, anybody that's going to get excited about the soil, it's going to be children, because they love finding all the creepy crawlies, particularly worms, that you get within the soil. And the great thing about gardeners is that they're doing activities that will mean, through cultivation and through planting plants, will attract worms to the site. And you want to do that more because worms are really our best friend. So what I want to talk to you first of all is talking about ingredients and how the ingredients of soil is a bit like the ingredients on a cake. And that basically what we've got to do is put the right ingredients together, and then it's not just knowing in a cake what ingredients you have, it's how you put and mix those ingredients together. And worms play a major role within that, including all the other creepy crawlies and bugs, and even the microscopic bacteria have an important role to play in keeping our soil really healthy so that we can grow luscious and amazing plants in them. So down here I have got the basic ingredients of soil. So first one I want to do is concentrate on this one here. This is what soil is like at this moment in time. You can see in there that it's got this lovely dark topsoil over here, and as you feel it, you can test the texture of it. It's gritty, it's sharper, it's sand mixed with gravel, and then it goes down to stones till eventually hits bedrock. And when you start to dig down, probably about 13 feet, you'll hit solid bedrock, and that's called the water table. When the water hits that, it then starts to move on and go elsewhere. The most important part of the soil to gardeners is this top soil, this darker soil that's here. And what you'll notice is that it is a black colour, and the blacker it is, that's showing you how much more healthy it really is. And if you dig a hole, what you're starting to see here, now you see it in this box, is horizons. And you'll see the horizons show you like a shading or different colours, and it tells you how deep you're going. The darker bit is topsoil, and as it gets lighter and lighter and goes into sand, it goes into rocks, it changes colour. Really interesting activity to do as kids is to just dig a hole and look at those horizons. See, gouge out stuff that's in there and have a look at it, have a play about it, see what it feels like, see what the difference is. Feel it's very tactile, there's different textures that you get there. But with gardeners, the most important thing, as I've said, is that topsoil, because that topsoil is black and dark, and it has an amazing ingredient in it. It's broken down organic matter, which is in the form of humus, and that humus is black. If you looked under a microscope, it would be like a black jelly that is binding minerals together. And plants love it because what it's doing is releasing nutrients to the plants. And plants don't eat soil, that is a myth. There's a guy called Jethro Tull that basically didn't know that plants, when they were photosynthesizing, were taking in sunlight and turning that into food. They didn't realise that's what plants were doing. What they thought was that plants were taking nutrition and food out of the soil. And they basically potted up some plants, weighed the soil very carefully, they put them in, and see whether there was a difference in weight, whether the plants had actually eaten that much. And what they found out was that there was hardly any difference in the weight, yet there was lots and lots of plant life, that was the vegetation that was on the top. And what they discovered was that the plants were taking in sunlight and carbon dioxide, and that's what makes up plants. Plants are made out of thin air, but what they need out of soil is they need nutrition. Like we need vitamins out of our food, plants need nutrition, and in particular the most important nutrition is nitrogen, which plants will get from that black humus that is there. So what that means is that nitrogen is it helps a plant to build, so it builds lush green stems and leaves, which then helps the plant to take in sunlight, turn it into food, so it can develop and make flowers and turn fruit, and the fruit turns into seed, and it can carry on procreating. If we give those things to the plant will give us the things that we want, and the plant will be healthy enough to attract all of the things that we need, like worms, etc., to the soil, which in turn will help to improve it. So that's the topsoil that's here. If we just left it like that and allowed the topsoil to build up and build up and build up and build up, to create about that much topsoil, you'd be looking at least 200 years, maybe 350, maybe even 400 years. So we've got to find ways of improving on that, because we can't wait for 300 years for topsoil. So we look at ways that we can add things to the soil to speed that up. Now, what you tend to find is that if you can get a spade's depth of that topsoil, you can grow anything in it. So if you can dig at a spade's depth and incorporate something into it, you will then create what would take hundreds of years in a matter of a few hours. And what we have here is really fully broken down old compost, and it's made up of the most important thing, which is organic matter. And what you'll notice with organic matter is when it's broken down, it's lovely and moist and it's ready, you'll find these little things, worms. And worms are there, they're working the soil up there. They are the chefs, they are the cooks of the soil. We've given it the right ingredients. I'm going to show you what those ingredients are for making up compost that you add in, that adds to the soil. But they are the ones that are taking in the soil. They're almost like sieves. They're mixing it up. They're eating it through. They're pulling down or unbroken down organic matter, pulling it down deeper and helping make that topsoil for you. So if we work with them, this makes an amazing partnership. In fact, studies show that they reckon that worms are going to save the world. The climate change crisis happening, one of the big key factors they think now is with worms because of how they work with carbon, because obviously carbon dioxide is a massive issue. So what are the kinds of things that you can add to the soil or to your compost, and what things are added naturally to the soil that make that topsoil? And what we have here are the ingredients. These are really raw ingredients here, which is organic matter. When you see something green, that's nitrogen. So whether it's grass or leaves or vegetable peelings, that's nitrogen that's been added to the soil. And if you cut your grass, if you've got vegetable peelings, add them to your compost heap, that'd be great. But if you add them on their own, it's going to smell. So what you need as well is something like carbon. And this is wood chip. You can also use cardboard, anything that's brown or yellow in colour, straw. If you add that in the same amount as your nitrogen together, you'll get a great partnership. They will break each other down, they will add body, and within a year you can end up with something like this beautiful black rich compost that we have here. And you can also add other things to speed it up here. What I have here is manure or animal poo. This is your bedding that's from horses. So you've got straw that they sleep on and shavings, wood, urine, poo, all mixed together. Add it all together, and guess what? The worms absolutely love that. And in fact, I was just diggling about down the bottom there, getting that manure up, and it was covered in lots and lots of different types of worms. So we got bloodworms and the large big earthworms, all of the things that you need to get to your plot. Start digging them in, and then you'll find that the worms you'll put them there, and also they will be attracted to it. And so what's important to do is, when you want to look for worms, you can do this by forking it over the soil and having a look to see whether you can see them. Already I've found some of the smaller bloodworms that are there just by digging in, because we've incorporated some of this beautiful rich compost, and every time I dig it over there's worms that are there. Now worms do pretty much what this sieve does here. Gets rid of some of the bigger lumps, breaks them down, gets rid of bits of concrete, so we don't want that. That can go in with the topsoil and soil there. And you can see that they create this beautiful sieved soil that the plants love to grow in. And what you tend to find when you're sieving as well is you're adding air. You're adding air when you turn the soil over like this, so air's going in there. But you're also adding air when you sieve, kind of like when you sieve flour for making a loaf of bread. You add air to it, fluffs it out, and the people that like the air in compost and in soil is the bacteria and microorganisms that are there. Now they are the ones that are breaking down that organic matter, breaking down that humus, in order for it to become nitrogen for the plants as a major part of their nutrition to take in, to help them take in sunlight to grow really, really nice and healthy and green and lush. One handful of really good compost, well, 1 teaspoon of really good compost has as much E. coli, bacteria, microorganisms that are breaking down that humus as there are people on planet Earth. Literally, within here, you have another universe, a whole other universe. and also the minerals that you get from sand and stones, they're all mixed up in there, helping the plant to take in that sunlight and to work really efficiently to create lots of green, lush growth, for it to flower and to develop roots. All of the things that's needed there, and the worm is helping to mix all of those ingredients and all of those things together. So have a look. If you've got a compost heap, go in there, have a look, see whether you can find a worm. Have a look, see what kind of bugs and creepy crawlies that are there. If you're at a point whereby you can't find any compost, you can't find any manure or anything like that, this is John's top tip for attracting worms to one area. So you can see there's loads in this compost here already. I've got 2 that are there. But if you're finding that you've got an area of soil that you've cleared, and it's looking like it's got that bit of black humus in there, it's got a bit of topsoil in there, but it hasn't got the compost there, you still can attract worms to have a good look at them. And the key to that is get yourself a cardboard box. You've probably got loads of them. Amazon always put everything in cardboard boxes. Literally place it flat on top of the soil, make sure the soil's nice and flat, make sure it's there like that. Get yourself a couple of bricks to weigh it down so it doesn't get blown away. Get yourself a watering can with some water, water it onto the box and absolutely soak it. And over the next few weeks, so if you leave it for about 7 days, keep going over and making sure that the cardboard's nice and wet and it's starting to go all soggy, you will find that you will be able to pick up that cardboard box, have a look underneath it, and there'll be loads of worms that will be sort of coming up to the surface that are there. They're attracted to break down that carbon, to drag it down, because that's what they're doing. They're making soil for us, and they're making really good, healthy soil for us, and they're making that lovely topsoil. And so, like us, worms, in order to get on in the garden, have to have a really, really good sense of humus.